some tight score lines like this beforehand in the past, where it has been really one-sided, and basically we're going to see if that one stays true or not. But the Raiders 6-1, currently looking to make that Bulldog squad with the one loss on the record as well. We're going to see if that one can stand true or not.
Nom, I like that name for the Bulldogs. Can't get one to go through. Nico wrapping around the wall. Again, just like what we saw in the game one about an hour ago. Both teams really just testing the waters. Just kind of settling into this. That's a tough touch from Noah. But so far for the Raiders, they hold on to the 0-0 scoreline.
Yeah, so much just the back and forth matchup. This is what happens at the high level Rocket League play. And we kind of hinted back towards it before the break started that, you know, it's quote unquote boring Rocket League, but think about it defensively and offensively in Rocket League with a good save right there from Toga. But think about it this way. This is high caliber Rocket League. These players know exactly what they're doing on the pitch. It comes down to who's going to have, like you said, that communication breakdown. Who's going to have that mistake as well. See good fakes is coming through for both sides of the pitch. Trying to mix it up, trying to be creative on the offense and defensive side of the field. So, I mean, we're in for a show nonetheless for both of these teams.
And Nom going down to a extremely slow pace, made two miss, just couldn't find the back of the net. So for the Bulldogs, I like what I'm seeing out of them early here. I feel like for Cedar Ridge, they haven't had a chance to flex their muscles. And Nom, who already has 5 shots already this game, finally finds the back of the net.
Yeah, I was going to say, they have so much offensive pressure is this Bulldog squad so far. The Raiders they escaped temporarily, but it was only for a short amount of time. So unfortunate right there for the Raiders, but at the same time, a good goal for the Bulldogs to start this one off early. But still, 3 minutes on the clock, a lot of time left. I like what I'm seeing right here from Toga, who pushed that one over towards the right side. So like I said before, they know what they're doing out here on the pitch. They know exactly the do's and don'ts. It's just going to come down to who is going to make the more mistakes here.
It was a good pass down to Nom, just a little behind it. Again, Nom just seems to be the real aggressor. Feels like for the Bulldogs, they just have Nom up front causing chaos, putting shots on. And his two teammates, Jake Herb and Knockers, just kind of sit back and feed him the ball.
I mean, that's what it looks like for me as well. Nom, another shot going to be registered. JKRB trying to get into the mix. Good shot right there from Knockers, going to be denied by Toga. Handful of saves already for Toga, 4 to be exact. This is going to be a far clear, short-lived clear as well. Right back to the other end of the field we go. Good demolition right there from Knockers. That's one way to stall the offense out, is to get rid of that offensive player. That puts them in a predicament. And quickly right back towards the blue, or I'm sorry, the orange half of the field we go.
Bulldogs just relentless with their pressure. For the Raiders, they're really just struggle to break out of their own end. You see them just kind of circling around at times. Knockers trying to stretch that one off the Nom on the backboard, can't find anything. And for the Raiders, they just haven't been able to get any sort of offense going.
I mean, for the most part, they really haven't had that many chances, but it's been courtesy of the Bulldogs defense. Every single time we come over here to the blue half of the field, we get a nice far clear like this one from Knockers over to the orange half of the field, and then it's just a race to the defensive half of the field for the Raiders. A couple of mix-it-up plays on the defense here. A couple of opportunities for the Bulldogs to add on to their lead as well. Under 60 seconds to go, by the way.
Game is just flown by. As I'm curious to see how many shots the Bulldogs are going to have at the end of this one and how many saves the Raiders are going to have. Because it just feels like the field has just been tilted towards the Raiders' goal, and they just really have to work an uphill battle.
30 seconds, only one goal. Noah High gets 50. Toga passed down. Good job right here from Noah. with the demolition. Gonna play that one slow and smart. He does win that 50-50 exchange. Toga advances it right back towards the orange half of the field. That one's met by Nam, though, who clears it right back towards center. And this has just been a defensive matchup for the ages so far, with the Bulldogs being out in front by 1. What a save from Toga. An epic save at that as well. You're curious to see how many shots the Bulldogs are going to have at the end of this game. I want to see how many saves Toga's going to have, but it's still up in the air. 0 seconds. JKRB has to make a decision. He does do a good decision at that. He kills it into the open field, and the Bulldogs are going to win game number 1 by 1 goal.
And I would say game 1 was quiet, if not for the 11 shots that the Bulldogs put on. And for the Raiders, they had 10 saves. That really tells the story of game number 1, of that they were just pinned to their own goal line.
I mean, yeah, for a majority of that game, they were just, all the pressure was onto them. Since the kickoff, the Raiders were just forced to their half of the field. And when they did break away, it was just such a short-lived segment. It was like literally 3 to 5 seconds tops. There wasn't that many opportunities on the offensive side. They only had 2 shots in total here in game number 1. So that just goes to show you the sheer amount of pressure and the sheer amount of defense that was played here by the Bulldogs. But that one mistake from the Raiders resulted in a goal there, and the Bulldogs just pulled away with it.
And sometimes one's all you need. Sometimes you may need more. But for the Bulldogs, they'll take game number 1 gladly. And for the Raiders, hopefully we can see them break out a bit more in game 2, kind of get up to speed of the Bulldogs. So going into game number 2, I'm just looking for the Raiders to speed up their pace of play a little bit and maybe shut down Nam.
Well, let's head into game number 2. See if the Raiders can get their first goal or not, or if the Bulldogs are going to get that first goal in their favor. Still off to this very, very tough offense, very, very tough defense as well. Neither team willing to budge. Makes for some great Rocket League for you and I tell you that much. But I mean, it's not the most exciting Rocket League for the viewers at home, unless you're a big fan of Rocket League.
And you know, sometimes it's just how the series plays out. It's very low scoring, it's a defensive slogfest. As Knocker's going to get a 50 off of 2 players that I thought the Raiders just had this pinch down, but Knockers is just right there.
Yeah, I don't understand how Knockers made that read and made it in such a amazing fashion, I should say. He just pre-jumped right that one before the play was even passed towards the center of the field. It was absolutely ridiculous. It was like it was Marty McFly. He came back from the future, knew exactly what was going to happen had he not been in that situation. So a little bit of an older joke there. For those of you who get it, thank you. For those of you who don't, go watch the movie. It's great.
I may be the one that has to watch that movie.
No, Ernie, don't do this to me. 3:45 remaining on the clock. Down by 1 once again is the Raiders. Nam looking to make that more. Knockers midfield. Strike off the back. Gonna be too high. I expected to see KRB there trying to have that follow-up touch. He wasn't really trying to overextend there. So smart play, but at the same time a little bit too conservative. They could have went up by 2 easily had he been there for the follow-up touch.
But just great possession being held by the Bulldogs right now. Passes are always to one player. It's very fluid. J. Kurt pass the middle, had Nam right there, sent away, double commit in the box. The Raiders are scrambling, just trying to get this ball out of their own end.
Still lots of time left for the Raiders to come back in this matchup. But still, you think with the Bulldogs defense, it's just an impossible ask. No one gonna get registered for a shot there, even though it was too high. Rocket League standards are so skewed sometimes. Sometimes you don't get a save. Oh, speaking of saves, no. Nam gonna get credited for the second goal here for the Bulldogs. I'd love to see it, but at the same time, it was a big mistake there on the Raiders on the backboard.
That is a backboard read that a Raider player had covered, was bumped off it by their own teammate. And ball ends up in the back of your net. And so for Cedar Ridge, you got to clean things up a little bit. Because at this level of Rocket League, you have to defend the backboard. You can't give away free touches.
Yeah, 100% agree with you on that one. That's just a routine play, especially if you look at some of the player titles here. You know, you see a couple SSLs, you know, for the player titles. And those are just routine plays up at the top level that you're so used to and accustomed to seeing. But it's mistakes like that that, you know, are huge and crucial, like we talk about all the time in Rocket League. Here comes another shot by Nam. Toga going to save it away into the corner. But those mistakes right there keep the defense and offense alive.
Raiders will get a chance to breathe here, but their forecheck, we'll say, is just not up to par. As Bulldogs, again, they hold on possession. They're just so good at finding the open space. But just as I say so, the Raiders able to hold on for just a moment before going back to being stuck on playing defense. Nam from a wicked angle. Gonna make it 3-0. And he just threads the needle.
Yeah, I was going to say that as well. Toga was there. He was actually in the right place at the right time, but he just could not get vertical up enough to answer the call. Bulldogs walking away with this one in 3-0 fashion. Noah High going to get a little bit more of some redemption right here to add on to the board here for the Raiders for the first time in the series. Good pressure right here off of the kickoff. And I talk about it all the time, Ernie. I'm not sure about where you come from, but I know for a fact kickoffs are just such a huge part of the strategy here in Rocket League.
Oh, absolutely. It's either you can kind of really set up, you know, if you want to win the kickoff back and take possession there, or do you let the other team get the ball back in their corner and you go for a heavy press right out of the gate. There's so much strategy involved, and sometimes it can just fall apart completely, and that's where you get your kickoff goals. And when you're giving up kickoff goals, it just comes down to really simple mistakes. That's what it comes down to.
The final 45 seconds now here in game number 2 here in the HSEL week number 8 regular season. Good shot right there from Knockers. Going to be taken away though by the defense of the Raiders. Here comes Nico trying to bring this one up past midfield. Knockers with a takeaway. JRKB as well met at that midfield line, and this is what you start to see at the high level of Rocket League. Good flip right there from Toga, trying to get everything going on the offensive end. Noah High has a chance off the backboard though. Knockers, this one could be a clean pass. That one's gonna be denied. Pitch play maybe in favor of the Bulldogs. Gonna be denied by Toga though. Final 10 seconds officially on the clock. This one's pretty much all said and done. An impossible comeback in the works right here, courtesy of the Bulldogs defense. We could see a goal here at the 0-second mark. A cross right there from Toga, still up in the air. Toga might just go ahead and kill this one. Noah High has other plans though, using that flip reset, trying to utilize his boost as well. JKRB, and another pass back down from Toga. So a little bit of shenanigans at the 0-second mark, but at the same time, you think that we would start to see the Raiders on the offensive end a little bit more, especially towards the tail end of that ball game. They started to kind of figure out a little bit of a rhythm.
They did, but you know, like I said earlier, these best of sevens, they're pretty forgiving. You have some time to settle in. But now it's like you're going into game 3, you're down in the series 0-2. You have to show your stuff here in game 3. Because when you go down 0-3 in a series, you're so out of it. It's so hard to just claw back and get back in it.
I agree, especially like we saw beforehand too with the last series that we just had in our hands as well, where you go down 2-0 and it impacts the mental a lot, especially when you're coming into this game and you knew it was going to be a tough one facing a 7-0 team. You expected to kind of battle them a little bit better, and it just did not work out in your favor so far. But like I said, we see some signs of life here from the Raiders. They're not done. They're not out of this one just yet, but at the same time, it definitely feels like they have to play with a little bit more pace of play here. They have to be a little bit more aggressive, and on top of that, pair that with some pretty much flawless defense, and that will keep you and maybe even winning the series.
For me overall, I just need to see more of everything from the Raiders, because right now for the Bulldogs, they're outplaying the Raiders. It feels for the majority of the game. Granted, the Bulldogs may make one slip up, but the Raiders just aren't in position to capitalize.
I mean, for the most part, that's what it feels like to me as well. I mean, I want to see more from the Raiders, but at the same time, it's like, how much more can you really just give against such a good Bulldog squad? They really do have such a good team, and they're for the most part in sync with one another as well. You know,
they're 7-0 for a reason.
Exactly. So how much more can we expect from the Raiders? Well, we're starting to see some more offensive pressure from them, courtesy of Noah High, who had that first goal there of the Raiders. Look at this midfield pass. They just trusted, I believe that was Knockers, who just trusted Nam to make some sort of contact with that one, to give them that pressure that was needed for the defense of the Raiders to back up.
That's a couple of times already we've seen the Bulldogs utilize those small drop passes where it just stops the momentum of the ball, and there's someone right there to trail. And for the Raiders, you got to figure out the double commits. The communication's just not there, leaving your third man just on an island, so to speak, left to defend against three striking players for the Raiders. You got to start, I think, with your communication and sorting it all out, because I think it's really where it's falling apart for them at the base.
I was going to say, I think we haven't really seen from the Raiders just yet either, as we see a shot and a goal from Nam, who's going to strike first here for the Bulldogs to put them up in the lead once again. But one thing we haven't seen is just the demolition strategy. I know it's starting to slowly pick up in NA, and you're starting to see it a lot more in the RLCS level. It's starting to be implied a lot more. So we haven't really seen that just yet from the Raiders. I really feel like they might be able to utilize that strategy here against the Bulldogs, because like you said, they have three really, really good players out here on the pitch that are in sync with one another. So if you get one of those players out of or off the pitch at least for 3 to 4 seconds, then that's going to put the whole entire rotation in shambles. So I really feel like the Raiders might have something left in their back pocket that they're just not utilizing just yet.
And we're halfway through game 3. They're only down by 1, which is fine. But you have to start to get something going. You have to open up space for yourselves, get those demos in. And again, Noah trying to clear it straight to a Bulldog player. And back-to-back whiffs, a touch to seemingly nobody. And that's the big difference is for the Bulldogs, their touches are either on net or to a teammate. And for the Raiders, it's just really downfield and hope you can make something work out of it.
Under 2 minutes to go. Gonna see if the Raiders can score yet again on the offensive end. There's a demolition right there from Knockers, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. That puts the defense in such a predicament. You see Noah High has to stick with that ball in the air because he sees 3 Bulldogs lurking on that goal line, trying to capitalize on the demolition. Now here's an interesting strategy as well. Noah High with no boost to work with. You saw Nam pick up that 100 pad. Not really going to be beneficial to them just yet, but at the same time, look for that strategy to come back later on.
Could be a 3-on-0 breakaway for the Raiders. Toga going to get credit for it. As you tie things up, as for the Bulldogs, they just overcommit a bit too much.
This is a good shot right there. And a good equalizer as well. This is a close ball game here in game number 3 that closer than we've seen the other 2 ones. I really feel like the Raiders can come back in this one and actually take this game away from the Bulldogs, but not like shots like this. No, I honestly thought the double touch was going to be there for the first initial contact right there for JKRB, but that's what I think threw off Nico just a tad bit, and then Toga froze up just enough for Knockers to score that one and give them the lead.
Bounce shot is unsavable. That's all I have to say. You put a little bounce on your shot, 99% of the time, it will go to the back of the net. I didn't say which net, though.
I was going to say which net. That's exactly what I was going to say. The final 60 seconds are upon us. Still, I believe in the Raiders. I want to see the upset. I'm a huge underdog type person. But at the same time, the Bulldogs have just looked so dominant. Haven't really had their footing as the Raiders just yet. JKRB with a good center there. Knockers wasn't trying to risk the overextension there. I said some smart players out here on the pitch, on the defense and the offense here. Regardless of what side you look at, I thought that one was in as well. Close shot. Follow-up touch denied as well. Nico on the goal line.
Final 15. Raiders got to get something here. Ball's on the right end. Wrapping it around was Noah. Stacking the pads was the Bulldogs. Nico can't finish. They got to keep the ball up. Knockers sends it away. And for the Bulldogs, got scary for a moment.
Yeah.
Able to get away with it.
I was really hoping to see some 0-second shenanigans and maybe a force of the OT there, but at the same time, it just did not happen. Kept myself at the edge of my seat right there the whole entire time. But at the same time, Bulldogs pull this one out 2-1 and basically just snuck by the Raiders. The Raiders showing some signs of life right now. But at the same time, I mean, it might be one of those situations where it could be too little too late at this point in time because Bulldogs are on match point.
Bulldogs are on match point. They're undefeated for a reason. Granted, I don't know their exact match differential if they've even dropped an entire game so far this season. But for the Bulldogs, they're just, at the end of the day, they're just surgical with everything they do. They take such good care of the ball. Their passes are crisp. Their shots are deadly. And when they have an opportunity to put it in the back of the net, they don't miss.
Yeah, they don't hesitate either. That's the biggest thing as well. We don't really see too much hesitation. And like you said, you hit the nail right on the head. There's not really too many chances where they overextend themselves, especially when there's some situations where they should, where it's like you get this like see ball, hit ball mentality is what I'm trying to say. And a lot of players would always try to do that and try to score, make the defense pay, and that's when the counterattack opportunities kind of happen. So, I mean, we're seeing a lot as we start off here in game number 4. JKRB going to go ahead and get credited with the first shot of this match, but it's going to be saved away just in the nick of time here for the Raiders. So hopefully we get to see the Raiders and the Bulldogs face off some more, but we said beforehand, Bulldogs officially on match point.
Also, I didn't say it last series. This map is gorgeous.
I mean, yeah, I agree with you.
And I haven't played Rocket League a lot this season, but like, wow.
Ooh,
I couldn't have timed that any better.
So close. That was so close. Watch this one back. You see Toga on the rotation back through. He was the last person back, and look at JKRB just had so much momentum. Toga had to freeze up just a little bit. Good placement. And like I said, Bulldogs aggressive at the right times.
And again, it's the no hesitation. For Toga, he hesitated for like a split second. And that's all JKRB needed to get enough on that ball to put it in the back of the net. Knockers gonna knock this one off of Nico. And for Nico, you're doing everything right. And it goes off your windshield and in the back of your net.
Yeah, that's just unfortunate.
It's a tough bounce.
It really is. It really, really is. It's a tough start here for the Bulldogs as well, 2-0. Not how they wanted to start this potential final game here off, but that's the situation they have to deal with now. Still lots of time to come back. Chance right here as well. You see Toga pulling off a backflip. I've wanted to see Nico go up for that one instead of Toga or Noah in that situation, but like I said, just hesitated too much. Let the defense catch up just enough time as well. So a little bit of a double commitment issue right there on the back end for the Bulldogs. This was a floater towards the center. Gonna be easily taken away right here from Nam. Knockers on the sidewall as well. Good advancement, but short-lived one at that.
And for the Raiders, they can get the ball into the corners. But they just can't get the ball in shooting areas, just as I say so. Noah gonna do. Wait. Okay, I got crossed up. I thought we were tied for a second, and I'm like, wait, Noah scored, but why did the other team get the goal? That's on me. You got to get the ball in the high shooting opportunities. They do it again from like the same angle. What?
Yeah, This time it was Toga who scores this one. I mean, I'm sorry, Noah who scores this one. Toga with the pass and the assist. And it's just pretty much keeping that defense on the ground, keeping them off, keeping them guessing is what I'm trying to say as well. So sometimes you have to find these tough angles, these tough shots to push past the defense. And if it works out for you, guess what? It works out for you. You keep on going back to it. It works double time for them.
Now I'm going side to side. J-Curb right there.
What a save.
As things really begin to heat up here in game 4, Raiders finally starting to really feel the pressure as their backs are against the wall. Shot just high off the post. There's a whiff from Nam, and he's like, we're going to regroup.
I mean, it's a smart regroup, though. You kind of have to go back towards your half of the field and kind of reassess the situation, reevaluate it. It's a tie ball game now. You don't want to take too many risks. Like we said before, a lot of time left. We officially just passed the halfway point in this ball game. Nice flip reset from Toga. Couldn't quite get that one pushed past Knockers. Knockers keeping the pressure on to the back of the net. JKRB as well. This one could be a mistake. Nico, good 50-50 right here from Nam to come up on that one early and gets the interception as well. Trying to get the dunk onto Noah. Noah might have a clear lane. Noah beats everybody. JKRB, the last person back, couldn't quite get it around them. I think they just ran out of boost and enough steam as well, but still on the offensive prowl are the Raiders.
Just ran out of funds to work with. Noah didn't have any boost, so still got a touch on it. Final 100 seconds here, tied to a piece. It's the best we've seen the Raiders play so far. But again, the Bulldogs doesn't really seem like they've let off either.
Minute, 20 seconds, far shot. Nico, Knockers, going to deny it. So many ends out here on the pitch. Nico, Nam, Noah.
Knockers.
It's a tad bit, yeah, it gets a tad bit confusing at times, but nonetheless, we still have ourselves a tie ball game. Almost 60 seconds left. Knockers. Good advancement. This one could have a chance. He does get it around. Oh my goodness. How does it get this touch around Nico?
I talked about the Bulldogs being fluid. That's the definition of fluid. A doink pass to off your teammate to yourself where you just lightly touch it over to put it in the back of the net in the final minute. It doesn't get any more clutch than that.
Wow.
Wow.
Speaking of clutch.
Okay, Toga.
Speaking of clutch.
Okay.
I said wow because as soon as I saw this one hit, I saw Toga in the air. I was like, no, that one's just wide open.
Buried.
Nobody home right there for the Bulldogs. We have ourselves a ball game, and the Raiders want to remind everybody fighting to stay alive here. This is game number 4. Bulldogs are on match point. Floater. Nico in trouble. Good job by Nico clearing that one into the corner. Nam still not done just yet. Toga interception. Nico breakaway now towards the other end. Toga gonna take the lead with 36 seconds left.
As it was a miss. No one touched it off the backboard. Went straight through J-Curb and Knockers. And the Raiders have escaped with the lead with 36 seconds left. But again, there's still 36 seconds left.
Wow.
What a turn of events.
Yeah, what a game number 4 this has been. 25 seconds left though on the clock. Bulldogs trying to tie this one back up. They were looking at a 2-0 lead at one point in time if you think back. But the final seconds are ticking upon them now. The Raiders with the lead as well. Nico, good 50-50. JKRB advancement. Can he get it over? Oh my goodness, that was so close. Nam almost scored it. Toga up in the air still. Here comes Knockers from that side. Overpass over to Nam. No! The opportunity was there, but the door was shut. And the Raiders hang on, and they do force a game number 5. What a show between the Raiders and the Bulldogs.
What a roller coaster of a final minute between both teams. And for the Raiders, they finally were able to put it together for the last couple of minutes. which is good, but you got to be able to play a full 5 minutes if you're going to want to really win out a series. You can't afford just to fiddle around for 3 minutes and put it all together for the final 2.
Listen, Ernie, I'm just going to start a chant here, okay? I want to start a chant.
I'm listening.
Go, Toga, 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 Toga. Toga is literally the savior here. He is three goals, 5 saves as well, single-handedly keeping the Raiders alive in this series. Absolutely great performance so far right here for the Raiders in this game number 4. But guess what? That game is long gone. We're gonna hop into game number 5, and like I said before, we got to store it into our short-term memories because we're right back at it. The Bulldogs still on match point, and they gave up that 2-goal lead. So you think that anything is possible now if you're a Raiders fan.
And for the Raiders, it's like, congrats, you won a game. Now do it again.
Yeah, exactly. Do it 3 more times.
Don't even worry about doing it 3 more times. Just focus on the next game. Knockers looking to put this series away. Just some quick play from the Bulldogs.
Yeah, but that was a mistake right there from Noah, though. If you look back, Noah only had about 12 boosts. He went aerial, and he could not recover and get his car wrapped around that ball fast enough. So, unfortunate. You see him go vertical once again, and he flips off the ball as well. So I'm not too sure if he's just trying to, play some mind games, some faking, whatever it may be, but it definitely put his teammate in a predicament. Speaking of predicaments, we have a 2v1 situation. Nam stretches that one out to the far post, scores on Toga. And I want to say, I think, a little bit of help right there from Nico on the rotation back through.
And Nam just gets enough on that ball, waits for that goalie to make a move, and then puts the shot on. It's a good patience from Nam, puts his team up 2-0 again for the Raiders. Just, that mountain gets ever so taller.
Yeah, but like we said before, they started off with a 2-0 deficit last time. They did come back in that matchup, but was it a fluke? Was it not? I don't know. Toga was activated. Toga's a little docile right now on the start of this game right here. But still, a couple of chances. A little bit of a miss right there at midfield. A couple of chances here for the Raiders. They're starting to apply some pressure. Mistake right there from the Bulldogs. Going to put a heater. Knocker's going to save that one away. That was Nico. Still have not found the prize just yet is the Raiders offense.
And the Raiders, they're right there. They're just 1 or 2 touches away. And that's where you got to give credit to the Bulldogs, as they're shutting everything down before it gets worse.
3 minutes remaining. Good back pass right here. Nico to Noah. That one might waterfall. Does get waterfall. JKRB had a chance. He did save that one away into the corner. I was going to say that was didn't quite catch who the name was. I believe that was Nico. He might have had that waterfall pass down, but still right back at the offensive side. Here comes Toga! Toga is activated once again. He's going to score first here for the Raiders. Cut this lead in half with a solo play. Pop off, Toga.
And again, no one was there. Nam and JKRB were just kind of caught in the same rotation in the corner. It was a free shot on for Toga. Managed to put that one in the back of the net. As we know, open nets are always the hardest shot to put on. Cuts the deficit in half. Plenty of time to play. I'd say momentum's on Raiders' side.
I mean, just a little bit on their side. Like you said, there's still a lot of time left. Look at who's in the air as well. That was Nam. Going to be denied by Toga. Here comes Toga on the offensive end as well. Sometimes you have to get the rock to the hot man. That one right now is Toga. Talks about how many saves he had that last game. 5 on the offense or in the defensive end. 3 goals on the offensive end as well. It's like the basketball mentality. Give the rock to the hot hand. You know what I mean?
Basketball, hockey. You're going to want your best player to have scoring chances. And Toga doing just that.
Wow is all I have to say. Toga, do your thing. That was insane. I think he had like no boost to work with. He used the wave dash to catch up to that ball as well. Beats all 3 members of the Bulldogs. And that's exactly what we're talking about. Let your hot man pop off. Toga with a save. Back-to-back saves right there for the Raiders defense as well. Nico saves that one away as well. Absolutely crazy performance. The Raiders are not done just yet. This is the second place battle that we were talking about. Or at least, my apologies. This was the battle we were thinking it was going to be, the first place team versus the second place team.
And so far, I said it was going to be a barn burner. It took a little bit for it to heat up, but I think now the Raiders are at full gear. They're firing on all cylinders. And the Bulldogs really now have to work for it. Knocker's trying to float that one down. Couldn't find it.
Final 60 seconds are upon us. Are we going to see a potential overtime matchup? Are we going to see one of these two teams get this one done in regulation? Raiders fighting to stay alive. Bulldogs, match point, trying to put this one away. Over towards the blue side of the field, Toga already has himself 2 goals, 3 saves. Can he be the savior here for the Raiders? A shot coming through from Nico. Toga now brings this one up from the corner. Nam denies that one. Awkward situation right there for Noah to be in. Up the field to Nico, to Toga. Toga puts a shot on, respected by the defense of JKRB. Another wraparound pass. Knockers in the 1v2 situation. Nice musty flip air dribble. Toga. Can he do it again? JKRB now into the corner. That pass towards center. Oh my goodness.
It was
just
right
a little
there.
bit too high from Knockers. That one would have put this one away. Instead, we might see ourselves in an overtime, and we do.
Raiders hanging on by a thread. As Knockers just could not get that one down a little bit more. As we go into overtime for the first time this evening.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit on the line here.
A lot of it on the line. You say a little bit, a lot of it. 7-0 Bulldogs are trying to stay undefeated. The 6-1 Raiders are trying to make that not make that a reality. My apologies. This is week number 8 here in the HSEL. Both of these teams such strong contenders for potential championship squad, and this is exactly why. Took a little bit for the Raiders to get here. Took them a little bit to warm up, but they're doing a heck of a job now maintaining this series and keeping themselves alive.
I mean, I had my concerns early on for the Raiders just because they couldn't match the pace. But now that they're going toe-to-toe with the Bulldogs, I mean, I'm impressed. They're really showing their 6-1 record at the given moment.
Nam's off the backboard. That one's awkward. Knockers. Good job taking that one away. Demolition onto Toga as well. That could stall off the defense, or the offense just a little bit of the Raiders. Nico, high, flying this one past 2 members. The last person back is Knockers. Here comes the shot. A floater. JKRB saves it away, though. Toga, follow-up touch. Not going to be strong enough to push it past Knockers. But look at the sheer amount of pressure that is just being had right now, courtesy of the Raiders offense.
Raiders right there. That's a big demo, but no one to capitalize on the shot. Knobs to go with a bit of a dump and chase. J-Curb right there, but Toga able to get the 50. And it right now just feels like a war of attrition as both sides becoming a bit passive as no one wants to give up that big mistake.
Yeah, they're waiting for that big mistake to happen. Everybody's rotating back for plenty of boost, trying to put themselves in the best situation possible. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far from the Bulldogs. I really feel like it's leaning towards them just a tad bit. Toga with a shot. Knockers. Great follow-up here. 50-50, I was going to say, if he would have won that one, would have been huge. Instead, it goes in favor of Noah. Off the ceiling. Look at Toga just being patient, being the last person back, not trying to overextend. I like it, but at the same time, I feel like That's not going to work out for the Raiders' favor. They need to be aggressive against the Bulldogs.
Your top scorer should not be the one
The third
playing
person back.
being the third man. They should be the first person up, causing disruptions, making offensive opportunities for themselves and their teammates, rather than stopping it on the goal line. That's a rough touch. Knocker's going to bury and say a good night to the Raiders.
Exactly. As soon as this double commitment happened, that was the one mistake we were both waiting on right there. And that's exactly what happened in this situation. The Bulldogs take full-on advantage of that mistake. And like we talked about, your leading scorer should not be